Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Kayla Lemieux? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the controversy, then offer my analysis. Kayla Lemieux is a teacher at Oakville Trafalgar High School in Ontario, Canada. Kayla identifies as a woman and uses the pronouns she and her. Many people refer to Kayla as transgender, but she claims to be intersex. The term intersex refers to a range of physical conditions where an individual's anatomy does not fit typical male or female classifications. A person can identify as intersex and transgender at the same time. Until somewhere around the age of 39, Kayla went by the name Carrie and identified as a male. Now moving to the timeline of the controversy. In September of 2022, Kayla started wearing prosthetic breasts to her job as a shop teacher at Oakville Trafalgar High School. Not surprisingly, several videos and photographs of her started circulating on social media. The fake breasts that she wore have been described as size Z, triple Z, ridiculously oversized, and clownish. Students who took pictures of Kayla or recorded videos of her were threatened with suspension. The school may have been trying to keep the story under control. However, as was the case with Kayla's unexplained airbag deployment, the story was busting out into the open. School officials were repeatedly criticized for allowing Kayla to dress this way in front of the students. Parents were furious and viewed the school board as adopting an extreme position, one which defended the transgender ideology at any cost. The school board insisted that Kayla was transitioning and her gender expression must be protected. She needed to express herself as a woman. The controversy raged on for some time. The Houghton School District Board did not seem to know how to handle the issue. Eventually, Kayla was photographed outside of school not wearing the fake breasts. She was also not wearing women's clothes, a wig, or makeup. A neighbor who was interviewed identified the person in the images as Kayla and referred to Kayla as a man, saying, quote, "He wears prosthetic breasts extremely infrequently. He puts the breasts on to teach, occasionally when he goes for a walk, or when the cops visit," unquote. Apparently, the police frequently visit Kayla's apartment because of threats that have been made, like they are checking on Kayla's welfare. After this discovery, there were many different reactions from various people. Some were stunned that the obviously phony features could actually have been fake. They were disappointed that Kayla had been lying the entire time. Some people wondered if Kayla was some type of troll who was trying to bring attention to perceived shortcomings in the transgender ideology. For example, anybody can say that they are transgender and no one can prove otherwise. Kayla still retained a number of supporters. One argument in favor of Kayla was that a person could transition back and forth regularly, like be one gender at work and another gender at home. Gender identity isn't something that is necessarily consistent over time. It could change on an hourly basis. Most people in the community where Kayla worked did not share this opinion. Many viewed Kayla as a fraud, a person who was gaming the system perhaps in order to satisfy some type of inappropriate desire, like Kayla really just wanted attention. Kayla responded to the criticism with a surprising assertion, telling the media that she did not wear fake breasts. She claimed that they were real. They were caused by a condition called gigantomastia. This is an extremely rare condition that only affects women. Only 300 cases have ever been reported. Kayla admitted that she had never actually been diagnosed with the condition. She suggested that in 2021, she began hormone replacement therapy and was in transition. Kayla would have people believe that all of a sudden, there was this explosive expansion that took her by surprise. Kayla denied being the man who was photographed outside of her apartment complex, despite the man having an incredible resemblance to her. The man in the photograph even had the same mole that Kayla had. Kayla said, quote, "I can't tell you who that is because I don't want to bring anyone else into this. I don't want that person being thrown all over the media, but it wasn't me, unquote. Kayla continued by saying, quote, "This is who I am. This is how I look. You've been talking to people in my building, but what they're telling you is harsh and untrue. I am always going out looking the way I am," unquote. Kayla indicated that she can take her wig off or her makeup off, but she would still retain her inflated anatomical features. She can't hide them. She accused people making comments about her of body shaming. Kayla talked about how she has been accused of dressing unprofessionally. People were upset about bicycle shorts that she was wearing. I'm going to guess that it wasn't the shorts that were really bothering people. As far as the controversy at her school, Kayla said, quote, "People look the way they look. They can't help it. You should embrace the way you are. You should be confident in the person you are," unquote. In January 2023, trustees on the Halton School District Board passed a motion ordering the Director of Education to develop policy to ensure appropriate and professional standards of dress and decorum in the classroom. On February 28, 2023, Kayla was placed on paid leave. The school board said that she was not currently on active assignment, but remains employed. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts in a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. This case has brought attention to the idea that members of the transgender community can change their gender on an hourly basis. Kayla's behavior has perpetuated this theory, but this type of behavior is extremely rare. The majority of people who transition will remain with their new gender identity for an extended duration. Most people don't try a new gender like they would try on an item of apparel, although technically it can happen. Item number 2. A key part of the controversy with Kayla is how to determine when a transgender person is genuine. Is Kayla faking it, or is dressing one way at work and another way at home part of her gender expression? There's this sense that if Kayla was authentically transgender, the school board would have supported her, but getting photographed dressed in male attire exposed Kayla as a fraud. I think this represents one of the most significant challenges with the transgender ideology. How would a clinician, or anyone for that matter, differentiate a deeply held conviction that a person is another gender from a desire to meet some other goal, like being the center of attention? There is no assessment for being transgender that can differentiate real from fake. The reality is that transgender identity is self-report. Anyone can say that they are a member of that community, and there is no easy way to challenge the assertion. When gender is treated as a social construct, it falls outside the domain of science. Item number 3. This case highlights the dangers of a radical commitment to an ideology. It's one thing for a school board to say, "We support transgender identity." It's something else to allow a person to make a mockery of the school system. This was really about having appropriate boundaries, recognizing that everything has limits, including freedom of gender expression. This incident lends support to a cynical view of those who vigorously promote the transgender ideology. Supporters will often say that they are reasonable and just trying to protect human rights, but in this case, where there was an obvious fraud, they still defended the ideology. Kayla was able to expose the extremism with a simple tactic. It's not like she was a sophisticated troll that worked for years to craft a master plan. She simply walked into the high school with these novelty oversized anatomical features, and everyone bent over backwards to affirm this gender expression. It's like the school board didn't even apply any critical thinking skills whatsoever. A school official said that protecting employees' gender rights is the stance the school board is taking, and they are standing behind the teacher. I suppose that in one way it does make sense that they were standing behind the teacher. After all, there was no room left in front. Item number 4. At some point, it appears as though Kayla went skydiving. I'm not sure this is a great idea to do with oversized fake anatomy, although I guess there could be one advantage. If Kayla's parachute had failed to open, she probably would have bounced 100 feet into the air. Maybe it was a safety feature. Item number 5. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Kayla Lemieux decided to embrace a female gender expression. Again, she actually used those words, decided to embrace. I don't know what this meant to Kayla, but whatever it meant, getting attention was part of it. This led to Kayla experimenting with these fake Triple Z monstrosities. A neighbor said that Kayla used them as early as May of 2022. Kayla walked down the street wearing them, which caused a lot of distraction for motorists. If a collision had been caused, the drivers would have seen additional airbags. Kayla liked the attention, therefore decided that she would expand the use of her fake anatomy to the classroom. It was time to bust loose. She knew that the students would notice her basketball-like additions and wasn't concerned that they would bust out laughing. Kayla was aware that the school district had adopted a complete acceptance of transgender ideology, a divisive topic which is far from settled, but the board made up their minds already. They would defend the ideology no matter what. Kayla was able to use this extreme position to wreak havoc. Kayla could have successfully busted a move for some time, but she grew tired of wearing the blimp-like accessories all around town. They were weighing her down like a Led Zeppelin. Kayla wanted to be a man again, at least when she was not at work. This led to her downfall. After being caught without the beach balls, Kayla was not willing to accept responsibility for the fraud. She made up a story about how her features were real. She would have people believe that there is an impersonator running around pretending to be a male version of her. Amazingly, some people were willing to believe this story, demonstrating how there is no limit to gullibility. Now moving to my final thoughts. I think the lesson learned in this case is how, even when somebody supports a particular ideology, the support must be measured. This is not specific to transgender ideology, but rather all ideologies. When a person becomes dogmatic, when they support a position to an extreme and discard logic, they are left vulnerable to decisions which actually jeopardize support for their belief. In this case, the school board hurt the transgender community by failing to act against Kayla and by threatening students with suspension. If the school board really wanted to support transgender ideology, they should have exposed Kayla as a fraud right away and maintained an appropriate boundary. Instead, they allowed Kayla to expose their biases with a simplistic, balloon-enhanced tactic. Those are my thoughts on the case of Kayla Lemieux. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.